Hello, hello. This is something I'm going to do. I would like to do this a little bit this year. I am hoping to make this a somewhat normal thing going throughout the season. You guys know that I'm a huge football fan. As much as I love baseball, football is my one true love. And I am a huge Buc fan. That is my favorite sports team. No matter what's going on, the Lakers winning, the Cardinals being good, doesn't matter. Above all else, I'll sacrifice it all if it meant that the Bucs were good. And we got a lot going on this year, obviously. You know, the off season. I talked about it a little. I talked about it on stream. But the Bucs have had quite the off season, acquiring a lot of pieces, getting a couple of starters in the draft, right tackle and safety, in particular. Obviously, new quarterback, got a new tight end, got a new running back who eventually will start. No offense, Ronald Jones, but Fournette's going to be that guy, I would hope. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. We're here to talk about the start of the NFL season on Sunday, and the Bucs have a very tough matchup to open the season against the Saints. I'm not going to lie, when I saw the schedule, I was not thrilled about having a division game week one. And then the pandemic. So a lot of moving parts, a lot of things that aren't ideal for both teams, for all teams for that matter. But as a Buc fan, there's definitely some things that I can point to that were concerns going into the season that got it may have made my concern a little bit higher, especially with no preseason. But let's talk Saints Bucs, or Bucs Saints, and give some predictions, some things to look for, and then what I predict the outcome to be, and then I will take some time to watch the tape before I actually go in. And do you have the instant reaction to what happened? I really like to dive into the tape, look at some of the big plays in the game, penalties, turnovers, and like I normally like to do, I need to know why it happened. So that's what we're going to look for. But with that said, let's talk. I really should have, the Ring is my home, but it just seems like I should be doing these at Raymond James. But this is my home. Within these ropes are my home. So I feel like I just stay here. So a couple of things to look at. Obviously, the media is going to portray this as Brady versus Brees. I particularly hate quarterback versus quarterback because I don't think I remember Brady and Manning being on the field at the same time, or Rodgers and Brady being on the field at the same time. So, the defense. So, a couple things as a reminder. There have been no preseason games. As we saw with Chiefs and the Texans game, while the Chiefs did win it kind of going away, it was a sloppy game. There was timing issues on both teams. Quarterback to running back, quarterback to receiver. Things definitely were not. You could tell there was rust that needs to be knocked off. So, one, who is going to be able to knock off the rust first? This makes me nervous as a Buc fan. I know, obviously, that Brady has engineered the practices with the receivers and everything, but you have Kamara, you have Michael Thomas. Their offense is already in sync in terms of how they're going to call their plays. You add Emmanuel Sanders to that, so it gives them extra dimension, gives them an extra weapon. Versus the Bucs, I feel like they're going to have to change how they run things offensively, going from Jameis, who likes to throw the ball down the field and attack deeper, the intermediate and deep routes, whereas you have Brady, who will do it too if it's open, but likes to keep things short. So my first big matchup here is, how do the Saints match up with the Bucs tight ends? Brady loves to throw to his tight ends. We obviously got Gronk. I'm still smiling over that. I have a Gronk jersey on the way, but that's his bread and butter. But Brady likes to keep it short, and tight ends usually are going to control the middle of the field. We have three. We have a unique, they all are going to be interchangeable and can be effective in the passing. The best thing about these tight ends, I think the thing that's overlooked a lot in terms of OJ Howard and Gronk, play action with them is extremely dangerous because they can both block. They are an additional lineman. One of the big reasons I was hyped about the Bucs drafting OJ Howard wasn't because of his pass catching abilities. It's that in addition to his ability to block. When you have a tight end that can block, it forces certain personnel to be on the field, because normally when you have a tight end, a lot of teams like to match up a cornerback against them because, like say Tony Gonzalez. Tony Gonzalez is a pass receiver. You're not worried about him actually trying to block. You're worried about him getting open down the field. Jimmy Graham, not really trying to block. You're worried about him getting open down the field. A guy like Gronk will sit there and put his hand in the dirt and block 5 plays in a row before you get that pass. OJ Howard as well. So it forces personnel to be on the field. That gives you a little bit of an advantage. Now the Saints do have personnel. As unique as it is for us to have 3 tight ends, I think the Saints can match up with them, but it can have a big impact on the game. And the reason I say it is not just Brady to Gronk or OJ or Brady in short yardage situations, in big formations. It's the ability to be able to run the football with them on the field, opening up the play action. This is, to me, a big key for this game. If they're able to get the run game going with those guys on the field, then it becomes a double threat, because now you have, as a defensive coordinator, what are you prepping for? Okay, the personnel, they're sending OJ and Gronk on the field. What do we do? Are we going to put linebackers out there? Could be advantage tight ends in the run game. Could be advantage tight ends in the pass game. Do you put corners out there? Huge advantage run game. Not as much of an advantage in the pass game, but you can kind of dictate the personnel that they put out there if they're effective. So that is the one from the Bucs offense. That is the biggest thing I'm looking for. Number 2 is timing. The Bucs, it's just tough when you get a new quarterback. As great as Tom is, he has not played an actual game with these players. We're still not sure if Evans is going to play. I assume he will. You know what they say, if you assume. So I'm just going to say, I just think he will. But there's options out there. It is what it is. If he doesn't, but I'm worried about the timing and the rhythm of the offense. So normally what you want to do is you want to get the short pass game going early, because you want to be able to hit your receivers early, get them out in space, let them create, but you want to get your quarterback feeling comfortable. You want to build that timing. This is a new offense, essentially. I just don't feel super confident that Tom's going to come out and look like, an all-pro quarterback just yet. I think it takes time. Now, it does help with it being on the road, and it's not going to be at full capacity, but still, this is in no way an ideal way to go into week 1. And so I hate it being a division game. It's such an important game. You only play the Saints twice, and you have one early on before we can really get going. So it's a little bit of a disadvantage, but if Brady is able to build that early, good things will happen. And then the other thing I'm looking for on offense, and it's the same thing I've been looking on offense for a long time, is the run game. Brady is Brady. I expect him to be efficient. Even if the timing is a little bit off, I still don't think he's going to put us in, bad situations, because that's not what he does. But run game, he got to help. You add Tristan at right tackle. The offensive line is going to be something I harp on all season long. If they can't block and create holes in the run game, we're going to have problems no matter how good Brady is. So this is going to work 2 ways. One, Brady is great. So the emphasis on the pass game should open up the run game. Between Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette, that has to happen. I don't care which. I prefer Fournette for obvious reasons. I don't care how it happens. The run game has to get going. 2 reasons. 1, short yardage, because some of the Bucs have struggled with historically since Jameis was a Buccaneer. 2, being able to open up the play action. You can't respect the play action if there is no threat of a run game. If you're going to run the ball and get 2 yards, why are players going to hold their zone or hold or potentially leave a route, lose a step if they don't respect the run game? So the run game has to get going, help control the game, help keep Drew and that other offense off the field. I don't have to talk about turnovers. We already know turnovers are such a big thing. It's not something that Brady does a lot of, so I don't really feel like I have to get into that. I mean, turnovers goes without saying anyway. But those are the 3 keys I'm looking for Bucs offensively. Defensively, the biggest thing I'm concerned about is Mr. Right Tackle. Tristan, welcome to the Buccaneers. Congratulations on starting at right tackle. Your first opponent is Cam Jordan. Good luck. So I expect the Bucs to chip, whether it be with a tight end, whether it be with, if they run, maybe pulling a guard over to help kind of get him out of plays, and running backs. So regardless of how it happens, you need to neutralize Cam Jordan as much as possible. He's great. You can't stop him, but you need to limit the amount of splash plays. Splash play as in a sack or pressure or interception, but I'm just going to assume sack pressure. You have to limit his ability to make a big impact on the game because things can go sideways really, really fast. So that is one. Number 2, and obviously the biggest matchup that we have had an issue with. Michael Thomas is Michael Thomas. I'm fine with him getting whatever he gets because he's pretty much done that against us. I don't care. Carlton Davis, I'm sure he'll see a lot of him. He played really great to end last year. So hopefully he can improve on that. But my big guy, Mr. I just got extension and made a lot of money, Alvin Kamara. He has historically been a problem for the Bucs every time he has faced us. Whether he's split in the slot, I've seen Lavonte David. Lavonte David is about as great of a linebacker as you can have, and he's made some great plays, and it's just not enough because Kamara is Kamara. Drew throws the ball as the only spot that he can get in Kamara. Great shadow, great defense, and still Kamara catches the ball. I mean, what can you do with that? We have to limit not just his impact on the game, but more importantly, the extra yardage. If he's going to catch a check down, you can't miss a lot of tackles. If he's going to catch a ball down, in the down past the line of scrimmage, slant, drag, whatever, screen, you got to get to him quick. He can't allow the extra yardage. Same in the run game, can't allow the extra yardage. So I don't know how we do this. But and especially with a lot of the blitzing that we do, is going to be on an island a lot. A lot of pressure is on that back 7 or 6, whoever's left that's not blitzing. You got to find a way to limit his impact on the game. He has killed us every time. Whether it's a screen pass taken to a house, whether it's a wheel route on a 3rd down that ends up hitting for 30 yards, whether it's a check down on an angle route when he ends up turning it into 25 yards. Got to limit the big plays from him. Keep it short and simple. And then the 3rd, and by far the most obvious, get pressures. I don't need sacks. I don't get pressures. You have to get to Drew. Drew's arm was a concern last year. It was a concern 2 years ago at the end of the season. So we know, as with Tom, Father Time is undefeated. You have to get to Drew. He's a guy that's in a rhythm. He likes to get to drop back to a spot and get the ball out quick. You have to get some pressure on him and force him to get rid of the ball before you want to. A lot of the things the Saints do are based off of timing. Disrupt the timing, get to the head. Don't worry about the body. Get to the head. If you take out the head, everything else follows. So being able to constantly get in Drew's face and wreak havoc, collapse the pocket, force him to flush out the pocket, hitting him as he throws, you have to get to Drew. So those are the 3 things I'm concerned about. Obviously, on the other side with the Bucs, the things I'm looking for. Now, the prediction. This is not going to be popular, I know, but as a Buc fan, I'm realistic. So I've said all season I expect the Bucs to get off or at least on stream, I said the Bucs will get off to a slow start. I think partly because of COVID and the limitations and some of the things that the team was able to do, but also realizing a lot has to change. We have to find a rhythm in play calling. You have to find a rhythm in what personnel groups work. What kind of workload are we going to find in the running backs? Defensively, getting in a groove, play calling. Shaq Barrett's going to get more attention this season. Someone else is going to have to step up. When does it happen? Devin White, there's a lot of question marks. Winfield, a big one. I even mentioned him. Like, as bad as our safety play may have been for the last couple of years, like, I'm really, really excited to have him. I think he was a steal when we got him in the draft. I did not expect him to be on the board. All that said, I think the Bucs keep this game close. I still think they lose. Even if it was in Tampa, I still think they lose. The reason why, I just feel the Saints, though they have added some new parts, they are already at their core set. You'll have new wrinkles, like I said earlier, with Emmanuel Sanders in the offense and doing some new things with him. But for the most part, they know what they want to do personnel-wise on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball. And a lot of the parts remain the same as the Bucs. They're still trying to form everything together and see what is going to work and what they can rely on, what they can still experiment with, what mismatches they can create and can go, look at attacking defenses and offenses, especially on the fronts down the road. That said, I see the Bucs even close. Like I said, I see a 28-24 loss. Not sure who has the ball last. I say the Bucs get the ball, and they're just not able to get get in the end zone to come back. But I think they have a good showing. I expect a sloppy game, at least at the start. This kind of would help the Bucs, but I'm just concerned that they will be able to knock the rust off before the Bucs will, and the Bucs will be playing from behind and just don't have enough to get over the hump in week 1. But it is only one game. Regardless, I'm not going to freak out. I'm excited to watch, and then I'll look at the tape and we'll talk about the reactions afterwards. I'll probably have initial reactions and then actually like a deep dive looking in more detail at what happened. But 28-24. I'm sure many expect the Saints to win too. Same thing, and especially it being in New Orleans. They don't lose often there. I believe the Bucs have won 2 times in New Orleans over the last 5 years. Jameis's first or second game of his career, where I believe he threw 1 touchdown pass, and then the Fitzpatrick game where he just threw, fantasy god for the week. But the Saints have won 5 of the last 7. So, not this one. The next one I'll probably feel a little bit differently on. Regardless, that's my prediction. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Do you think Brady is going to look great early on? Is he not? I don't know. But this is why we watch. That said, go Bucs. I'll be watching for sure on Sunday. Thanks for watching the video, and I will see you guys after the game. Take care.